And then you've got that third bucket that I heard over here, which is just basically FICA, right? Your side of FICA, it's about 7.5%. So state, I think we're still 5%, aren't we? Federal, your minimum rate's 15, if I remember correctly, and FICA is about 7.5%. So at a minimum, very bare minimum, when you buy $100 worth of benefits, you're going to be reducing that $100 on your net take-home pay by about $27.50. Which means effectively, if I'm going to round real quick, okay, this isn't going to be perfect math. This may be Common Core math or something, okay? So you've got $70. Close enough, right? Thanks for that. So you've got $70 effectively for every $100 that's going to affect your net take-home pay. Does that make sense? You would have been paying all of those taxes had you not payroll deducted. Now that you did, you're not paying those taxes, which means that your net take-home pay is going to be quite a bit less than the $100. So basically, when you're looking at these benefits, if you say, hey, I'm going to enroll in medical, and I have a budget of $100, and medical is $70, and dental is $30, so I'm paying a total of $100 that I'm deducting, your net take-home pay will be affected by about $70 or more, or I should say, or less, because this federal one could be a lot higher depending on your household and income and everything else, okay? Any questions on that? The reason I mention this is if you look on the dental plan and the amount that you're actually paying for the dental coverage, it pays 100% with no co-pays, no co-insurance, nothing like that for your preventive care. If you get that done every year, twice a year for you and or your dependents, and you add up the total amount that you would have to do after tax, meaning pay all of these taxes first, then take that money and pay for all of the costs of the cleanings, exams, and x-rays that are paid for 100% by the insurance. In every case that I've done that for, they would have been better off or the same as buying the insurance and getting it pre-tax and then paid for 100%. Reason I say that, for vast majority of individuals that go to the dentist, if you don't go to the dentist, you've got bionic teeth, dentures, or all implants or something like that, then obviously don't buy it. But for all of us that go to the dentist twice a year and get all those things done, in general, you're better off to get a dental plan than not to get one, because if you do need something done, fillings, crowns, or everything else, now you're dollars ahead. Okay, the math is actually pretty cool. And that's really the insurance companies making money on the aggressive discounts they're taking on the dentists. That's where they're making their money. Okay, so any questions on that? How that works? It's my 5-second pause for effect. Okay, so that's all we're going to go through, and maybe we'll end where we began, and that is that the whole goal this year was enhance benefits, mitigate increases, and get you the network that everybody's been screaming for. And you haven't been screaming, you've been very polite, but we definitely hear that that's something that you guys have wanted, okay? And girls, I apologize, I mean all of you. Go ahead.
So deductible restarts September 1st.
Great.
And then again, January 1st?
No. Deductibles always reset January, okay? However, with a plan change, you've got a new deductible, and we will be submitting what's called a deductible crediting report into UHC. So we're now into the housekeeping, okay? So first of all, last thing I was going to mention is Achieve Today is fantastic. They pay more for your benefit than the vast majority of clients that I have. When you look at what you're paying as a single, they pay about, 78% of the single, and then they pay 68% of the dependents, everybody else. That's a phenomenal benefit. So feel free to send an email to them and say thanks, because it's really is good relative to the industry. That said, housekeeping items, anytime you have a change in carriers, there's some little nuance issues that we've got to deal with, okay? And I'll mention two things that are beneficial here. One, we're going to be submitting a deductible crediting report, which will credit that deductible. If somehow there's claims lag that happens, so if you have a claim today, they may not know, they being Cigna, they may not know about that claim until 2 months from now. So we're going to do a crediting report about the middle of this next month in September, on purpose, waiting a little bit to capture as many as we can. That won't capture everything, I promise. And then we'll do it again the next month, trying to capture everything we can. Now that said, it won't credit the out-of-pocket maximum. However, if you've hit that out-of-pocket maximum and on the new plan, you've had your deductible credited and you have to hit another out-of-pocket maximum, guess what you now have on your new plan that'll make that really easy? You've got gap coverage. So if you've credited your deductible from last year to this year and now you owe co-insurance, you've now got gap coverage that will pay for that coinsurance. Now, with that said, your deductible will always reset again in January, but the gap benefit resets again in January as well. So if you were to have a surgery this year after the renewal of September, you would have the gap benefit for that surgery. If you had the exact same surgery, say a knee surgery on one knee and then the next knee the next year, you would have the exact same benefit available to you the next year for the same surgery. Okay? Does that answer all the questions that you had on that specific issue? Outside of that, the only other thing that I would recommend is if you have any prescriptions that you need that are ongoing, maintenance, anything of that nature, if you've got, I don't want to become unethical here, but if you have anything that you do have a need to get done now, it will have absolutely no effect on your renewal next year because you've got Cigna now and you'll have UHC next month. So if you have things that you need to get done, specifically RX, if you have a prescription that you need filled, we want to make sure that there's in that kind of fuzzy area of switching, crazy things can happen with carriers, especially large carriers. And if you need a prescription ongoing, get your prescription refilled this month if you can. And that way, at least you've got some buffer so you don't have to get it the very next day after the renewal. Okay? But great questions, great input. Any other questions as a wrap up? Comments, criticisms? I'll ask for criticisms. Yeah.
I'm assuming there's a phone number somewhere, I think I saw it, to just call when we're ready to sign up, those of us who become eligible.
Yeah, so for those of you, yeah. So the question was, just for anybody who wasn't here, if you're going to be becoming eligible after September 1, so if you're hired today and you're going to be eligible first of the month following 60 days hereafter, then get in touch with Nolan. He'll get you the paperwork that you need to complete so that he can get you onboarded with whatever benefits that you qualify for and what you would like to enroll in. Okay? But the information in this booklet, keep it because it's correct for the new year. Okay? Yeah, go ahead. Correct. Exactly the same. You'll see more providers on the dental because it's growing all the time, but outside of that, the benefits and everything else are exactly the same. Got it.
So Nate,
Yes.
when you guys do that renewal and you check to see if there's any claims prior, let's say it happens in that little time window.
Yep.
When you don't do the check, do we just go to Nolan or you to kind of sort all that out if there's any issues?
Yeah, so what you can do, and you can request a deductible crediting report for you individually as well, and you can submit that individually. What we can't do is to go every single day to Cigna and ask them every single day. They just won't do it.
Okay.
So what we're going to do is stagger it for 3 months and do it once a month over 3 months.
Okay.
And so it'll catch it over a period of time, but there may be a period in there where the explanation of benefits that you receive doesn't reflect that credit. Does that make sense?
So we can do that independent of you guys then?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. And we can help you do that as well, so you can certainly contact us. But that's the tricky part of changing carriers. It's the best way we can do of doing that well. But the system and the way that it works, there's always this wonderful thing called claims lag that really will create, somebody will fall through the crack there, period. And it won't be the carrier's fault, your fault, or our fault. This is what it is.
Okay, thank you.
But at least you know about it. Okay? Want to take this guy?
Well, let's give a hand to Nate. Thank him tremendously for what he's done.
Let's see you guys.
We have one more group to come in as well. I just want to, before I just want to let Nolan know how much we appreciate. He's been very, very influential in this whole process, and he has just done a great job of representing the employee voice in reference to where you're at and what we need to do and what needs we need to meet and everything, as well as just a tremendous person to bring some good, I guess, common sense to the table, and as we went through this very, very complicated process. And I just want everybody to, if you've dealt with Nolan, you know exactly what I mean, and he's just wonderful to deal with, and wants to help in any way he can from the employee perspective. So let's give Nolan a big hand. And just to let you know, my wife works for a national chain store, a big home warehouse repair type place. And the insurance that they offer them, Home Depot only pays 50%. The employee has to pay 50%. So the benefits that we get here at Achieve today are tremendous compared to what other companies out there are paying. So here again, that goes to Paul and Aaron. All right. Now, we also offer some additional insurance coverage to you that's supplemental that we drew through Colonial Life. This is life insurance, short, long-term disability, hospitalization, cancer, that we really get for pennies on the dollar when you look at the cost of it. It's something the company doesn't participate in the cost of, that the employees pay for themselves, but we get it so cheap that it's still very, very cost effective. Wanted to introduce Sherry Hopkins from Colonial Life, and she's going to go over some of the things that are there that are offered that you can take a look at as well.
Okay.
I don't know
I'm
where we're going
gonna put
to,
that.
maybe just hold it
I'll
in
just
one
hold
hand.
it. A little higher. Okay, hopefully that worked. Well, good afternoon. I'm appreciative to be here again this year. I'll be very brief, but in your packet that's being handed out, there's a couple of different plans we're going to go over. The most important thing I want to leave you with in the packet, there's a yellow piece of paper, and if you complete that and hand that back into us after this meeting today or to Nolan in the next couple of days, we will arrange for a benefit counselor to come out and talk to you one-on-one about these benefits and answer any specific questions. You've heard a lot today, and it can be a little overwhelming and a little confusing. So we like to make sure that you have the ability to meet with someone one-on-one to answer questions that you have, to find out how these plans are going to work for you. And if you've had any claims in the past year, for those of you that are already enrolled, we can help you with that claim process as well. So in your packet, short and long-term disability, well, the long-term's not in there, but I've got that handout right here. But short-term disability insurance is really a very important benefit that I think a lot of people don't really understand how it works and therefore don't participate. But if any of you have ever been through a disability with anyone that you know, typically you go to the doctor and the doctor says you're going to be out of work for several weeks or even several months with an accident that you might have had. I talked to a client yesterday that took a little tumble down the side of a mountain trying to save his son from falling off of the edge and ended up breaking his leg, needing surgery and being out of work for quite some time. Disability is there to provide you a paycheck. So in the event of an incident that happens off the job, an accident, a sickness, a pregnancy, things like that, disability provides you a paycheck monthly so that you still have a means to pay your bills, to help pay the house payment, pay utilities, groceries, things of that nature. The short-term disability, each one of you can customize by choosing how soon the benefit's going to begin. You can have first day coverage on your accidents, a week later, 2 weeks later, and then it's going to provide that income for up to 90 days, 3 months. Then is when the long-term disability comes into play. So we're talking about two different plans, and you can elect both of them or one or the other. The long-term disability has a 90-day waiting period, and then it's going to be able to provide you that benefit of 60% of your income up until the age of natural retirement, which I guess is probably 65 or maybe even 67 now. But it's going to be able to provide that for that long haul. So you look at your personal situation, and if you've got the means to cover the first 90 days you're out of work, then you might not need a short-term disability plan. You just look at the long-term. But if you're in a situation where being out of work for even just a couple of weeks would cause a financial hardship, you definitely want to take a look at some short-term disability insurance. And in your packet, there are some sample rates. I don't know how I'm going to do this one-handed, but it gives you an idea of what the cost might look like. These are, again, just some samples, so it's not hard and fast for every one of you. You will design your own package. Just to give you an idea, the white paper, so if you were to elect a $1,700 per month benefit on the short-term disability, and you had this plan kick in after 2 weeks of being out of work, 14 calendar days, and you're under the age of 50, that cost out of your paycheck would be $7.02. So it's a very affordable plan and a very affordable way to pick up that coverage to protect your paycheck, which a lot of us don't recognize is really one of our most valuable assets, is the ability to earn an income. So look at that. The brochure shows the things that are most commonly not covered, things like jumping out of a perfectly good airplane, skydiving, hang gliding, those are not covered. There's really no disability plans that cover that. Mental illnesses like depression, anxiety, stress, those are exclusions. And then for maternity, for those of you that are thinking about this for yourself, for the female employees here, you have to be on the plan for 9 months before delivery. So not before conception, but before delivery for that to pay out for your maternity leave. So hopefully that helps. And again, we can stay for any additional personal questions that you want to ask. Or again, when you turn in that yellow form, the benefit counselor will meet with you and talk to you about that a lot more specifically and go into some personal questions when you have that privacy. Okay. The second benefit is the accident policy that we've offered for several years. A few of you are on this plan. Now, the GAP plan that Nate introduced, that's an awesome benefit, and where the company pays for that, especially a great benefit. This would be in addition to that, and what this plan would do is it pays the cash benefit that's listed in the brochure. It pays the benefit directly to you for an accident that happens 24 hours a day, on or off the job. So with that same client of mine who took the tumble down the mountain, just to give you an idea of the benefits payable, you can look through the brochure yourself. But the first thing it does is it pays you $125 for that initial visit. Wherever you go, urgent care, your personal family doctor, or the hospital. It adds another $30 benefit for the x-ray. It pays $825 for a broken leg if it doesn't need surgery, but if it does, then it doubles to $1,650. There's $1,000 that this gentleman will receive for the admission into the hospital, and then it pays a daily benefit for each and every day hospitalized for that accident. Following that, there's follow-up care, $50 for up to 3 follow-up visits. The physical therapy that might need to take place, it pays benefits for that, appliance benefits, and so on. So the accident plan pays that money directly to you. It doesn't go to the doctor, just like that GAP plan, it goes to you directly because it's there to help you with some of your out-of-pocket expenses. Now with that GAP plan, you're not going to have any out-of-pocket medical that I can foresee for you, but any of your out-of-pocket non-medical, maybe waiting periods until disability plans begin, travel expenses, lodging expenses if you happen to be out of town for a family vacation or a child on a mission or things like that. So you can look at that plan and decide if that's a plan that would benefit you or not. The premium is $5.29 per check for an individual. And what's nice about that is it doesn't have to be you as the employee. So if you say, I've got a son or a daughter that's more likely to have an accident because maybe they're in sports or maybe they're accident prone, whatever the case is, you can cover that one person and nobody else. Maybe it's your spouse. So you have some flexibility within that plan. This plan does cover the jumping out of airplanes, skydiving, hang gliding, bungee jumping. Those things are all covered. In fact, this plan, the only exclusions would be illegal activities or a self-inflicted injury, like an intentional type, suicide type of event.
Base jumping is classified as self-inflicted.
You're right, but it would be covered under this plan. Maybe you might see a mental physician, I don't know. But so great plan. And with this plan, for those of you that are already enrolled, this is where I get a lot of, oh shoot, I forgot to file that claim. On the back of that brochure, there's a health screening benefit. And with this plan, and it's true with the next plan that I'm going to talk about as well, if you go into the doctor for your annual physical, maybe you're having your cholesterol checked or a fasting blood glucose test, colonoscopy, whatnot, any one of those exams listed, we pay you $50 per family member that you had covered under the plan once per calendar year. So if you've had a checkup and you have forgotten to file that, you still can do that. They'll go back many years on those claims. So let us know if we can help with that. The cancer policies on the next page. And cancer policies are offered not because health insurance doesn't cover it, because it certainly does. It's a very good benefit. And you have that GAP plan that's going to help with that too. But my experience has been, and maybe some of you have experienced this as well, if you've gone through cancer with a friend or family, expenses are going to go up, income's going to go down. That's definitely affected. And I can speak from this. My brother went through cancer in 2014, 13 and 14. 14-month battle. He didn't work for 14 months. His wife lost a lot of time from work while she was going with him to the treatment facilities and being at the hospital and different things like that. This money from the cancer plan goes directly to you. It never goes to the hospital or doctor unless you request that it goes there. The money goes to you, and the idea behind that is to help you cover some of your out-of-pocket expenses, medical or unmedical related. It's really up to you. The plan starts off with paying you $100 for going in for your annual physical, maybe a cancer checkup, and that's every family member once per calendar year. It then pays you a cash benefit for diagnosis, and then it pays towards all the treatment that follows, the days in the hospital, the surgeries, the anesthesia. radiation, chemotherapy, anti-nausea medications, the supportive and protective care prescription drugs. If you need to see a doctor, maybe in California or Seattle's bone marrow clinic, this plan has benefits that will pay airfare and lodging expenses to help you get there and for your companions lodging while they're there. It's a very rich benefit. And as you can see, the premiums, it's not age rated and it's not tobacco use rated. So you look at your premium, if you're employee only, it's $6.54 out of your paycheck each payday. If you leave the company, the disability, the short-term disability, the accident, and the cancer plans are all portable. They can go with you at this same premium that you're getting charged here. Because you're paying 100% of the premium now, you'll be able to take it for that same premium. So that's a nice benefit. Any questions so far? I'm starting to lose my voice a little bit. So the last benefit, life insurance. I know that several of you have the life insurance. This is a plan, it's a group plan, so you get the benefit of group rates. If you're a new employee, you can get some coverage up to, I believe, 100,000 guaranteed issue, meaning no health questions. So it's a good opportunity to pick up some life insurance if you don't already have some. With the long-term disability and the life insurance, we do have to meet a minimum participation each and every year to have that continually be offered. And I think we're probably on the verge of having an issue with especially the long-term anyway. So I would definitely, if you haven't participated yet, please turn in the yellow form. Let the counselor talk to you about it, at least educate you on what the cost would look like for you, what the benefit, any questions you have, and then at that point you can make a decision if you want to pursue it or not. It does not obligate you to sign up by filling out that yellow form. It just says you get that few minutes to talk to someone privately. So that's really all I have. I do have some worksheets for the long-term disability that help you figure out the rates. If you need that, I'll leave those with Nolan. Any last minute questions? All right, well then thank you so much for your time.
I do have one question.
Well then we'll get, thank you.
On the long-term disability, like a lot of people have their base and then they have commissionable income. Is that what the worksheets are for? Is that what you're referring to?
No, the worksheet, you're just gonna look at your 60% of your gross income. I'm not sure they can look at bonuses. If that's a substantial part of the income, we might need to talk about that and we can talk to the carrier. So thanks,
We'll
good
look at
question.
commission on that, though.
Commission, but not bonuses probably, so.
All right, well, thank you. So what we need to do then now, for all full-time employees, part-time doesn't need to, but all full-time employees, I must receive back your form that says what you're going to be selecting for insurance or you're going to be waiving the insurance. There are no exceptions. If you are full-time, I've got to get one back from you. We won't require those back until Monday. So take today, tomorrow, you know, the weekend, talk things over, look at it, fill it out, and bring it back to me on Monday. If you want to have Colonial Life, go ahead and fill out the yellow paper and get that back now. If not, get it back to me by Monday, and we'll get that taken care of so you can have that little one-on-one conversation with them. Good. Any other questions that you might have, please, please, please don't hold it. Come and talk to me, come and ask a question. I was a teacher for many years. I go with the adage, the only stupid question is the one you don't ask. So come and ask the questions and we'll get the answers for you. All right? Thank you for taking the time. Now, get back on the phone.
Yeah, we've got to make it.
Thank you,
Thank
sir.
Have a great day, everyone. Thank you for your
Thank
time.
you.
We appreciate it.
Thanks again, Paul.